नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन इति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतः। नमः ओम विष्णुपाद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can all recite the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giram. Yat kripatamaham vande, Shri Gurum Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. So Hare Krishna to all of the participants here. We welcome you again from ISKCON Shri Narsimhagiridhari Mandir for our third day, where we're going to look at chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 3 is titled Karma Yoga. And we discovered that in the first chapter, Arjuna was not ready to fight. Therefore, he was lamenting. So the single word to summarize the whole first chapter was lamentation. In the second chapter, Krishna talks about Atma Jnana to refocus Arjuna's dilemma onto what his real identity is. His real identity is that he is a spirit soul. Therefore, for the second chapter, we had the single word summary as identity. What is our real identity? It is that we are spirit soul, we are Atma. But when we take on a physical body, we will acquire a lot of bodily identities. So we will call ourselves son, daughter, father, mother, friend, enemy, whatever, vice president, president, prime minister. We have so many different identities based on the body. But all those identities are temporary. And that is why Krishna is telling Arjuna, the only identity that matters for us is that we are spirit soul. Why? Because when you go to your next life, the permanent ID card with you is going to go. Your temporary ID card you will leave behind. So you may be a human being in this life. In the next life, you may be a different creature altogether. So you've left behind your temporary ID, but your permanent ID is traveling with you. And your permanent ID is that you are Atma, you are spirit soul. So what did Krishna tell us yesterday? So some of you can help us remember what all we looked at. You can put it in the chat or
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Can I say?
Yes, please.
Yes. Yesterday class we discussed about what is true happiness and 3 type of klesha.
3 types of klesha. Do you remember what the 3 types of kleshas are?
Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautik and Adi Daibik.
Very good. And what does these 3 things mean? What is Adi? Adhyatmika.
One is soul, another is one is soul, another is come from another person, and third is nature.
So sufferings that we produce for ourselves is Adhyatmika. Adi Bhautika is sufferings
from
brought to us by other Jivatmas. And finally, Adidaivik sufferings brought to us by
Nature.
nature. Nature is an energy of the Lord. So she also brings sufferings for us. So these are the three kleshas. So we need to figure out how to end these sufferings. What else? I think somebody wrote Swadharma and Sanatana
Hello?
Dharma. Yes.
Hello? I came to ISKCON temple in Bangalore. There
Yes.
only you took Bhagavad Gita at ISKCON temple.
What was your question? Sorry.
Actually, I came to ISKCON temple at Bangalore, but I
Okay.
didn't saw you. Where only you teach at temple?
Right
Bhagavad
now we
Gita.
are
In
talking
temple you
about,
teach.
sorry to interrupt you, but right now we are talking about summary of chapter 2. So if you have any other questions, you can please post it in the chat. We will take it at the end of the session. Yeah. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we were discussing the chapter 2 summary. Okay. Any other questions unrelated to chapter 2 that we are summarizing? Please put it in the chat. Maybe one of us can respond to you. Okay, so we were talking about the 3 different types of sufferings in the form of kleshas. And we talked about 2 dharmas, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is also called as Nitya Dharma. The word Sanatana means eternal, which means eternal means it doesn't stop. So what is the dharma that does not stop for you? What is the dharma that does not stop for us?
Swadharma, Mataji.
Huh?
Swadharma.
Swadharma will keep changing, correct? So let us say in this life, I'm a king. In the next life, let us say I'm a farmer. Has my duty and responsibility changed? What do you think? Is my duty and responsibility as a king the same as my duty and responsibility as a farmer?
No. No,
Some
Mataji.
responsibilities are same.
Yeah.
If a king is a family man, he has responsibilities as a family man. If a farmer is a family man, he has responsibilities as a family man. But the king has a different profession, the farmer has a different profession. So their duties and responsibilities will differ. So let us say I am born as an elephant. Then what happens? Do I have duties and responsibilities?
No.
No. Okay. So what is the only duty and responsibility that we're carrying from life to life? Is that based on the body or is that based on the soul?
Based on the soul.
Yeah.
Has to be based on the soul. Because all of your temporary ID cards you will leave behind at the time of death. You are not going to carry those ID cards with you into your next life. So the only ID card that you're carrying with you is that I am Atma. Because that is eternal. You are eternal. So we were talking about Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. And what is Swadharma? Duties and responsibilities towards our family, our loved ones, our community, our society, our nation, our earth. All of this falls under the responsibility of Swadharma. So is Kshatriya Dharma Swadharma or Sanatana Dharma?
Swadharma.
Swadharma. Because it is temporary, it is based on your bodily designation. So Sanatana Dharma or Nitya Dharma, Krishna says you have to perform your duties and responsibilities on the spiritual platform. Your soul is spiritual in nature. Your body is material in nature. So if you have imbalance in life, it is because you are not managing both the duties properly. As a matter of fact, Krishna says, if you do your Nitya Dharma or Sanatana Dharma, you will always be happy. So, okay. So Krishna has revealed Atmagyan. Krishna said, Okay. If you do your duties as per the Atma Gyan, you will be happy. That is what he has told Arjuna in chapter 2. So if Atma Gyan makes us happy, why does the Atma suffer? If the Atma is Satchidananda, which is what we saw in one slide, right? That we have a gross body, which is a physical body. We have the subtle body, which is the mind and intelligence, along with false ego. And then we have the spiritual soul, which is Satchidananda. If the soul is Satchidananda, why is the soul forced to suffer? Why are all of us suffering? Some kind of thing or the other, right? We are always suffering. It comes and goes. So for that, Krishna has to explain what are our duties. Now you know your permanent ID card is your Atma. So what are the duties for an Atma that is occupying the body of a human being? That is what we are going to look at today. So chapter 3 is titled Karma Yoga. So what I'm going to do now is, okay, for some reason I'm not able to see. Okay, let me do this. Okay. All right, so we're ready to cover chapter 3. And chapter 3 has 4 sections in it. Krishna is going to primarily focus on our duties and responsibilities in chapter 3. Duties and responsibilities based on Swadharma. Duties and responsibilities based on Sanatana Dharma. And Krishna is going to emphasize Sanatana Dharma more than anything else. Yes. So Krishna said, Atma Gyan, once you know about this Gyan, you can't just keep it like that. You have to practice. So knowledge alone cannot give us happiness. But the implementation of that knowledge to help ourselves lead a better life is actually going to create that sense of happiness. So we're going to look at how we are bound by karma, the different rungs of life. So in this different rungs of life, we are going to discover there are 3 categories of people. Then we're going to look at an example of who is an exemplary leader. Krishna will talk about leadership. And finally, we're going to discover who is our real enemy, because we are suffering because of someone or something. So Krishna has to answer that fundamental question, why are we suffering? And for that, we will look at the shlokas here. So in the first 2 shlokas, Arjuna is asking a question. In the second chapter, Arjuna said, Krishna, I am confused. You please help me. You please tell me what is the right thing for me to do in this situation. I don't want to fight. At least that's the conclusion I've arrived at. But you please tell me, what is it that I should do? So after hearing everything that Krishna has spoken about Atma Gyan, Arjuna has a doubt. So chapter 3 begins with Arjuna's question. Arjuna is saying, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So Krishna has talked about intelligence. Krishna has talked about karma or the karma kandis. So in the second shloka, Arjuna is saying, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. So what has happened here? So Krishna has said both Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma should be done. He has also said it is better to focus on your Sanatana Dharma or Nitya Dharma because it leads to permanent happiness. So now Arjuna's question is, you said Nitya Dharma is best. You also said that performing devotional service or bhakti is the best. If performing bhakti is the best, then why are you asking me to fight? Why can't I make a decision not to fight and start doing bhakti and bhakti alone? So I'm not able to understand, Krishna, why on the one hand you're telling me to fight, on the other hand you're telling me the best process is to do bhakti. So Arjuna thought that Swadharma is not important at all because the Lord focused quite a bit on Sanatana Dharma in the second chapter. But here, Krishna is going to explain to Arjuna that all of us have to work. We cannot just be doing bhajan sitting somewhere in the forest. We all have to work for a living. So Krishna never advises us in the Bhagavad Gita to give up our prescribed duties. So what are these prescribed duties? These prescribed duties are based on Varnashrama system. So bhakti does not mean abandoning your duties and responsibilities to your family, to your society, to your community, to your nation. So if we focus on following the Lord's instructions and guidance, then we will always do the right thing. So Arjuna is confused again. So Krishna has to respond to Arjuna's question. So in the Shloka 9, Krishna is saying, Yajñarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. So what is Krishna's instruction to Arjuna? Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So Krishna is emphasizing that all of us must do our work. So, how do we do our work? Krishna is saying how we should do our work. Any work that we do, we should offer it to Krishna. Because if we offer it as a sacrifice to Krishna, Krishna says, then you will become free from all kinds of sins. So if we look at our condition, everything is supplied to us by the Supreme Lord. Food, water, air, sunshine. These are things that are not created by scientists. When everything is supplied to us by the Lord, then the Lord expects us to follow his instructions. Just like if a parent is spending a good sum of money to send their child to school for their betterment, for their future, then the parent expects that the child will be obedient. So similarly, if Krishna has supplied us with everything for us to live a happy life, he expects us to be obedient. And the first instruction Krishna has given here is, you do your prescribed duty, Arjuna, but you do it to please me, which means if Arjuna fights because that is what the Lord is instructing him to do, then he will please Krishna, and at the same time, even though he fights and kills, he will not accumulate any sin. Why? Because he is following the Lord's instruction. So that means we cannot do whatever we want in life. Krishna is like our father. He has supplied us with so many things, so many necessities. He expects us to be obedient. And one of the way in which we can be obedient is whatever activities that we do it for the pleasure of Krishna. So that takes us to the next slide. But before that, I have a question for you. You can answer this question in the chat. So the life lesson is that if we organize our lives according to the guidance of the Lord, we can be freed from all kinds of karmic bondage and attain liberation. So this answers the question, why does the Atma experience suffering? So the answer is because we are disobedient. If we become obedient to the Lord's instruction, then the Atma will not suffer. By being obedient to Krishna's instruction, the Atma can achieve liberation or moksha. So here's my question for you. So, oftentimes countries go to war with each other. And soldiers practice every day in the hopes that one day they will be able to use their skill to serve their country. So a government has instructed its soldiers to be ready for war. And in that process, let us say you are a soldier and you kill somebody or many people on the battlefield. Should you be punished or should you be rewarded for that? So that's my first question. Let us say you are a soldier. Government has ordered you to fight. In the process of fighting, you have killed some enemies. Should the government reward you or punish you? Okay, so all of you are saying the government should reward me even though I killed. Correct? Okay. Now say you are that same soldier. The war is over. You come back home. You have an argument with your neighbor. And somehow or the other, you manage to kill him. Should the government reward or punish you? Okay. So all of us are clear on this dharma. If I work as per the instruction and desire of the government, even if I kill, there is no sin. As a matter of fact, I will be rewarded. But if I kill without the authority or the authorization of the government, then I will be punished. That is clear? So similarly, when we are working for Krishna, if we work per his instruction, you will be rewarded. If we disobey the Lord, we are going to be punished. That is why the Atma experiences suffering. We experience suffering when we disobey the Lord. And everything will be beautiful in life if we are obedient. So the same government punishes you for the same activity. And for that same activity, but a different context, the government rewards you. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna, you fight because that's my order. So don't worry about killing because you don't have to accept any of those sins. Because you're fighting, as per my instruction, there is no sin involved. So if you please the government, you will always be rewarded. If you displease the government, you may be punished. Huh? So that is the essence of this life lesson. So that means Krishna wants us to follow his instructions. Where are his instructions? It is there in the Bhagavad Gita. If we follow his instructions, we do not have to worry about karmic reactions. That is what Krishna is saying. So now we're going to come to Shloka number 13, where Krishna is saying, Yajñashishta shantaha muchyante sarvakilbishaihi bhunjate te tvagham papa ye pachantyatma karanat. So there are criminals and there are law-abiding citizens. Krishna is talking about the law-abiding citizens, in this case, his devotees. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Okay, I have a question for you. Is there anybody, any one of you who can say, I have never committed any sins in this life? Can any one of you say that? Can any one of us say, we have never committed a sin? So all of you are saying, no. That means we all know that we've committed sins. Somewhere or the other, maybe without thinking, we have done so. So the Lord is giving a very small example, but a very important example of how to avoid sin. What is that example? All of us have to eat every day. If we want to keep this body and soul together, then at a minimum, this body needs some nourishment. But Krishna is saying, do you know, Arjuna, what my devotees do? Yes, they have to nourish their bodies. How can they do that in a karma-free way? Well, whatever they prepare, they will offer it to me first. And because they have offered it to me as bhoga, they will accept it as prasadam, and prasadam is karma-free food. On the other hand, Krishna says, those who violate the simple instruction of mine, what are they doing? They are eating only sin. So essentially, Krishna has taken a very small example of your duty that you have to do for his pleasure. So Krishna is saying every day you should eat or honor prasadam. If every day you are honoring prasadam, there is no sinful reactions. Therefore, Krishna says, my devotees, when they follow my instructions, if they kill as per my direction, there is no sin. If they eat as per my direction, there is no sin. But if they don't follow my directions, then the Atma is going to experience suffering in this life and in the next life. The only reason the Atma is experiencing suffering is because it has occupied a body. So in the next shloka or the next section, we are going to look at the three categories of people. Now, Krishna has told us how we can be obedient. And one example he has given us in the way in which you consume your food every day. So whatever you prepare, Krishna is saying, you offer it to me first and then you take it as prasadam. Well, suppose I don't follow Krishna's instructions, what happens? Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayah aghayurendriya ramaha mogham partha sajivati. Krishna is telling, my dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. Offering food to Krishna first is a sacrifice. Being obedient to Krishna's instructions is a sacrifice. So Krishna is saying, those human beings who do not follow these simple instructions of sacrifice, as I have outlined in the Vedic scriptures, then they are leading a very sinful life. So that means we have to figure out, are we leading a sinful life? Which we said, some of us, all of us have said at some point or the other, we have committed some sin. So there are three categories of people in this world. There are the karmis, the karma kandis, and the karma yogis. It is not just in India. All over the universe, there are these three categories of people. In this Mother Earth or on this Mother Earth, every country has these three categories of people. So let us see, who is the karmi? So here you can see we've depicted a karmi not with words but with pictures. What does a karmi do? He eats, he sleeps, he fights, and he defends. He procreates. So animals also do the same thing. Animals also eat. Animals also sleep. Animals also defend their territory. And animals also have families. But there is a difference between the animals and humans. Humans have the ability to discriminate between right and wrong. So Krishna is saying, if you don't follow any scriptures at all, you are leading a very sinful life. So for example, every country has rules and regulations, so many rules and regulations for so many things. Those rules and regulations apply to human beings. Let's take a small example of a traffic signal. So the traffic signal is for human beings operating vehicles. A cow can violate the red signal. Government is not going to take the cow and give it a traffic ticket. Why? A cow or an animal can violate the government's law. Government doesn't punish. Why? What is the reason that the government does not punish an animal? It can't differentiate. Very good. There are no rules for the cow. Okay, very nice. What else? It has no thinking power. It doesn't know about man's rules and regulations, right? It does have intelligence. Animals do have intelligence. Animals do have the capacity to think. Yes. Who wrote that? The rules are made for human beings. These rules are made for human beings. Therefore, if a human being violates the government law, then there is a consequence. Therefore, Krishna says, if you lead an animal-like life, then being in a human body, you have the ability to discriminate. You know what is right or wrong. You can understand Atma Tattva, but still if you choose to live like animals, then you are leading a very sinful life. So a karmi is living life like an animal. A karmi, he may be occupying the body of a human being, but in Krishna's mind, he's not living the life of a human being. Human life is so precious, but he is wasting it away in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Okay, so second category, karma kandi. Acha, so what is the difference between a karmi and a karma kandi? Same terms are being used with a slight difference. A karma kandi is afraid of the government's law and regulations. If they don't want to be in trouble with the government. At the same time, governments has rules and regulations that they can take advantage of. For example, you have tax laws. So within the tax laws, you can take advantage. You can protect your income, reduce paying taxes through legal means. But you do that because you benefit. Similarly, you will follow the traffic rules and signals because by following that law, you will stay away from being punished by the government. So the government has rules to encourage you to do the right thing. Government has rules to discourage you from doing the wrong thing. So that is what the karma kandis do. The Lord has set down many rules and regulations. If you follow those rules and regulations, but you're doing it for your own benefit, then you are considered a karma kandi, which means karma kandi, they believe in God, they believe in scriptures, they have faith in God and scriptures, but everything that they do, all of the samskaras that they follow, they do it because I want a good wife, I want a good job, I want nice children, I want my children to be successful. So whatever it is that they need to do to fulfill their own desires, such a person is called a karma kandi. Which means he is a law-abiding citizen because it benefits him. That's a karma kandi. So that means there is one more category that Krishna wants you to follow. So that third category is called the karma yogi. Who is this karma yogi? The karma yogi not only believes in the Lord, not only believes in the scripture, but they follow the scriptures because it pleases the Lord. And because it pleases the Lord, they automatically benefit. So there is a slight difference between the karma kandi and the karma yogi. The karma kandi is thinking, what can I do to enjoy myself? And also stay out of trouble. The karma yogi is thinking, what can I do to make Krishna happy? Do you see the difference? Karma kandi is thinking, what can I do to be happy? And what can I do to avoid pain? So the karma kandi is only interested in himself. A karma yogi is thinking, whatever I do, I will only do it if it pleases Krishna. So if the Lord says, offer bhoga to me every day, then they will follow that instruction. So like this, Krishna has many instructions for us. A karma yogi will not think, this instruction is too difficult for me to follow. Let me not follow it. No, a karma yogi will always think, I must follow all of Krishna's instructions because it pleases him when I follow his instructions. Even if I don't like some of the instructions, Even though there may be great difficulty for me to follow Krishna's instructions, a karma yogi says, there is no question whether I like or not. I will do it simply because it pleases my Father, Krishna. So how can we please the Lord? How do we know what makes the Lord happy? So when we chant the holy names of the Lord, it makes the Lord happy. When we hear Harikatha, it makes the Lord happy. When we read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam every day, it makes the Lord happy. When we take prasadam every day, it makes the Lord happy. When we do some seva in the temple, it makes the Lord happy. So all of these activities please the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So slowly, all of us, at some point in time in this life, we should also get to that stage where we are chanting because it makes Krishna happy. We are having prasadam every day because it makes Krishna happy. We are reading the Bhagavad Gita every day because it makes Krishna happy. So a devotee or a karma yogi is someone who does anything and everything to please Krishna. So his own interest is not a priority. Krishna's interest is the top priority for the karma yogi. So with this, we have understood the three categories of people, right? The karmis, who are only interested in their own pleasure. They don't care about guru, sadhu, shastra. They don't care about it. A karma kandi cares about shastra, but they only utilize shastra for their own benefit. Whereas a karma yogi does everything that pleases Krishna. So Krishna is giving so many instructions. To do all of this, we need role models. So who's the role model and where are we going to find this person so that we can also follow their instructions? So Krishna says in the 21st shloka, Yad yad acharate shreshtaha tattadevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So, who's the role model? Well, first of all, we have to be the role model by following Krishna's instructions. Because your children look up to you when you are a great role model. Your children will follow your instructions and they become role models for the next generation. So when we follow scriptures, we become good role models for our children. You know, in life, many of us, when we were growing up, or even now, we have heroes that we admire. Whether it is in sports or somebody who's a cinema star, maybe a scientist, a politician. Why do we, quote unquote, follow them? We follow them because we like them and we want to be like them. And we follow them because we want to be successful like them. But we need role models for spiritual life also. So there are 4 paramparas here. There are any number of role models for us. Whether you can take Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhvacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the best role model that we have in modern day life is our Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So, a role model is someone who sets such a fantastic example for others to follow. He is an exemplary leader. So we need not look beyond Srila Prabhupada as an Acharya. as a perfect role model on how we should lead and conduct our life in such a way that it is going to please Krishna. So one day Srila Prabhupada had traveled to England, and one of the journalists asked Prabhupada a question. And the question he asked Prabhupada was, why have you come to England? What have you come to take from us? Prabhupada responded, he said, you know, your country, East India Company, they came to India. They took a lot of things from us. Lot of wealth they took from us. Prabhupada told this journalist, I have not come to take anything from you. I have come to give. There is one thing that England did not take when they left our country. They did not take Sanatana Dharma, which is the most valuable thing that India can give the rest of the world. I have come to give you Krishna for free. I have not come to take anything. I have come to give you something that you forgot to take. So that is the beauty of an Acharya. An Acharya is so compassionate and at the same time so intelligent. He can handle a journalist's pretty rude question in a very smart way by saying, I have not come to take. I have come to give something that you forgot to take, which is how to perform your duties and responsibilities for the pleasure of the Lord. So I have come to give you Krishna for free. No fees, right? In these classes, we do not charge fees because this knowledge is meant for you to utilize in your life. So a lot of us want to follow scriptures genuinely, but we are not able to do it. What is the reason we are not able to follow the scriptures? We have so many obstacles in our way, even to follow scriptures. And Arjuna had the same question. So Arjuna uvacha athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya balat iva niyojitaha. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So Arjuna is asking, many of us want to follow your rules and regulations, Krishna, but sometimes we just violate it. Why? You know, we had asked the question earlier, can any of us say that we have not committed any sins? And all of us said no. How can we make a statement that we have not committed sins? So Arjuna is saying, okay, what is the reason sometimes I commit sins? So to that, Krishna responds. So even if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, the greatest of personalities, the great devotees of the Lord, and then the very well-known personalities in the form of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was so arrogant and so greedy. He wanted everything for himself. He was the most powerful personality in the three planetary systems, so powerful that the demigods were afraid of him. He forced the demigods to work for him. So Hiranyakashipu was angry with his son Prahlad, because Prahlad was a great devotee of the Lord and Hiranyakashipu was exactly the opposite. He wanted to kill Lord Vishnu. So one day he asks Prahlad, Acha, so you are very great devotee, you are worshipping your Lord. Why don't you tell me where he is? Show me where is your God. Hiranyakashipu asks his son Prahlad. And Prahlad says, my dear father, why are you searching for him outside? He's there inside you. Don't you know that the Lord as Paramatma is there within each one of us? You don't have to search for him outside. He's there within you. Of course, we know how that ended. Hiranyakashipu gets very angry. So anyway, he had tried to kill Prahlad so many times. But this time, Lord Narasimha came to protect his devotee. Similarly, there is another pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a personality by the name Ajamila. Ajamila used to be a very pious Brahmana. One day he went into the forest to pluck some flowers. And in the process, he witnessed some incident and he lost all of his Brahmanical qualities slowly. And he started leading a very sinful life. Somehow or the other, when he was on his deathbed, he uttered the Lord's name, Narayana. And because of that, he was saved from going to hell. If he had not uttered the name Narayana, he certainly would have gone to hell to be punished for his sinful ways. Simply because he chanted the holy names of the Lord, he was saved by the Lord. He was given another chance, a second chance, to change the way he was leading his life. And he used that second chance to perform bhakti, perfected himself, and then goes back to the spiritual world. So since we all succumb to temptations so easily, how do we develop that resilience? Because temptations is all around us. So sometimes we are able to follow the rules and regulations, and sometimes we're not able to follow the rules and regulations. So how does one develop this resilience? So where is this enemy? And what do we do about it? So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. So the Lord is telling Arjuna, the Lord is answering Arjuna's question. What was Arjuna's question? Why is it that sometimes I act against your wishes? So Arjuna said, the Lord is telling Arjuna, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Krishna is saying it is your own desires that are causing you so much suffering. So how do we develop this resilience? We have to become like a tortoise. A tortoise has this very hard shell. So if a predator attacks the tortoise, it simply withdraws all of its limbs under the shell. This is something Krishna talked about in the second chapter, where he says we have to be like a tortoise. So Krishna is using an analogy of an animal to tell humans how they can develop that inner resilience and strength to always do the right thing and to protect their senses. So to develop this resilience, Krishna says, Tasma tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshabha papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Krishna is instructing Arjuna, well, if you want to know how to control your lust and your desire, then from the very beginning means when? From your birth, you should curb this great symbol of sin, lust. What you should do? Krishna is saying, by regulating the senses, you will slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So Krishna's instruction is, the way we should lead our life from birth is that we should be trained to regulate everything that we do in life. That means developing self-discipline. So that is why the analogy of a tortoise is used. So How do we protect ourselves? Through sadhana. That is the discipline that Krishna is talking about. So where is this enemy and how do we protect ourselves? Krishna says the enemy is in three places: your senses, your mind, and your intelligence. So who is the enemy? Ourselves. In what form? The enemy of the soul is the senses, the mind, and the intelligence. These three things are preventing the soul from performing its Sanatana Dharma. So how do you control your senses? Krishna says to defeat these three enemies, you have to accept only prasadam every day, because if you control your mouth, every other sense can be controlled by controlling the tongue. How can the tongue be controlled? The tongue can be controlled by accepting only prasadam every day. How can the mind be controlled? The word is mantra japa. Mantra means your mind will experience tranquility when it is doing japa. Therefore, we chant the holy names of the Lord, which is called the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By constantly chanting this mantra, your mind can be controlled, because your mind is also your enemy. How can your intelligence be controlled? Krishna says by hearing and reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So every day we should have prasadam. Every day we should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And every day we can control our intelligence by reading from the scriptures. If we do this every day, then we can easily conquer the enemy. So in summary, the Lord has asked us in this particular chapter to do our duties and responsibilities, but to do it to satisfy Vishnu. When we do it to satisfy Vishnu, we are performing a great sacrifice, a great austerity. Then we discovered three kinds of people: the karmis, who do everything for their own pleasure, or rather they violate the rules and regulations and they don't care for it. The karma kandis, who follow the instructions, but again they're doing it more to protect themselves. And then finally, the karma yogis, who do everything for the pleasure of the Lord. But then we are not always interested in following the instructions of the Lord. And sometimes we make horrible mistakes in the process. So Krishna says your real enemy is your own desires. And how do you control this enemy? Because you first need to find where this enemy is located. To that, Krishna says it is in the senses, mind, and intelligence. And in order to control this, we have to follow the instruction of acharyas. So if Krishna says offer food to me, the acharya will also say offer food to Krishna. If Krishna says do nama japa, then the acharya will say do nama japa. If Krishna says study the Bhagavad Gita and read Srimad Bhagavatam every day, the acharya will say study the Bhagavad Gita and read Srimad Bhagavatam every day. By doing these three things, we can start developing a desire to do everything for the pleasure of Krishna. Why? Because when we do everything for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishna says he's very happy. Also, when we do everything for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishna says you will not accumulate any sinful reactions, because you will be under the Lord's protection. So that is chapter 3. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take it up. We will do chapter 4 tomorrow. Now, Krishna has to tell us a little bit more about karma. a little bit more about himself. He's going to introduce himself in chapter 4 and who he is and why he comes. Okay, so I have given you the opportunity to unmute yourself. You can raise your hands if you have a question. Tanmay, do you have a question?
Yes, Mataji. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Krishna says we should follow prescribed duties. What and all comes under prescribed duties?
Well, Krishna has given an example of offering bhoga to him every day. Krishna will also talk about chanting his names. The prescribed duties are instructions that we just saw on the last slide. Chant the holy names of the Lord, offer bhoga and honor prasadam every day, and read the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam every day. These would be our prescribed duties in Kali Yuga. But we'll discover more as we go further into future chapters. Okay, thank you. Very nice question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Ali Barani, do you have a question?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
So my question is, if we are chanting but in an absent mind, will the God will be happy or satisfied with our chanting or not?
It is better to chant than not to chant. And it is better to chant attentively than to chant distractedly. So you continue chanting. One day.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
1 second, please. So yeah, you can chant, but try to focus your attention on chanting. So it also depends what time of the day you're chanting. If you're chanting in the early morning, your mind is less likely to be distracted. If you're chanting in the middle of the day or later in the evening or at nighttime, then your mind is in a pretty distracted state. So it's not possible to focus your mind on Krishna when you're chanting. So early morning hours are the best time to do your japa meditation. Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the question.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hamsa.
Yeah, can we chant only mantras every day, or we should daily listen to Bhagavatas and we should read? If not possible, we have baby and all. We can't read every day.
Well,
Is it
you can
okay?
certainly chant every day. You can hear when you're taking care of the baby or when you are in the kitchen cooking. You can turn on the lecture and listen to Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam class.
I can listen. I can't read.
Yeah, you can listen. Why not?
Okay.
If you can
Thank
read
you.
when your baby is sleeping, that is nice. But if you cannot read right now, that's okay. At least you can listen.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Haribol. Nice question. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? I think there may be questions in the chat. All right. So, what is our material prescribed duties given that Varna system is no longer followed? If you follow the instructions of Krishna, then that is the topmost priority. Your prescribed duties on the bodily platform, whatever it is, if you're a family member, if you're a mother, if you're a sister, if you're a daughter, then you perform those duties as per that. The whole Bhagavad Gita is primarily focused on Sanatana Dharma. It is not focused on your Swadharma. Yeah. So if you want more details about Swadharma, precisely, it is Krishna is saying it is better that you focus on your Nitya Dharma. And when you perform your Nitya Dharma, automatically you will know what your Swadharma is. What's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. So Krishna tells in Srimad Bhagavatam, he is in our lives in 3 ways. Each one of us, he is there as Paramatma. So the more you do your Nitya Dharma, you can hear the voice of the Lord within you, directing you to do the right thing. So you could say it's your conscience. Krishna is there internally within you as Paramatma. Krishna is also there as a guide for you externally in the form of Guru, Acharya, and Shastra. So these are the three ways in which Krishna makes his presence felt in your life. One is as Paramatma. The second one is as Guru. The third one is as scriptures, Shastra. Okay. By following the instructions of Acharya, you will be able to figure out what is your prescribed duties. Why is Sanatana Dharma associated with India? It is not associated only with India. All of us are souls. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as a Christian soul, a Muslim soul, a Hindu soul. Because the minute I say this country, that country, these countries don't exist in the spiritual world. The term Sanatana Dharma is linked to Vedic culture. But the knowledge that Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita applies to all of us, irrespective of the religion that you're practicing. Now, to your question, why other countries are not aware of this deep knowledge? Because Krishna says, when I send my acharyas, they will only give as much knowledge as the people are able to follow. So if you're in kindergarten, I cannot teach you calculus. The more intelligent you are and the more advanced your consciousness is, then the acharya will come and reveal more knowledge that you can follow. So Krishna is not here to complicate our life by giving instructions that we cannot follow. Otherwise, the instructions apply to everybody. The deeper that we go into Bhagavad Gita, you will actually recognize how simple Krishna's instructions are, that everybody should be able to follow them. And most religions do talk about the same instructions in their books as well. Okay, but it may vary here and there. So I hope I have answered your question, Siri. Can you chant every day? Yes, definitely. You should chant every day. What is the difference between dharma and karma? Well, we'll learn all about karma tomorrow. So do join us for chapter 4. Yeah. Okay. Why Arjuna says to Krishna is a descendant of Vrishni? Because Krishna comes in the Vrishni dynasty. That's why. How do you control your senses? Well, Krishna has said, well, offer the food that you eat every day to me and then you accept it as prasadam. Because by controlling the tongue, you can control all of the other senses. Okay, there is a question that says, what if we have only desire for Krishna? Will that person be a karma kandi or a karma yogi? Well, you will be neither. You will be a pure devotee. If you have desire only for Krishna, then you fall into a completely different category. How to offer bhoga to the Lord? We'll teach you that in chapter 9. All right. In the market, we have so many versions, books of Bhagavatam. Can you tell us which is the best to read? Well, since we belong to the Gaudiya Madhva Parampara, it'll be best if you read Srila Prabhupada's commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it's a bona fide parampara. So any bona fide parampara that has written commentary on the scriptures, you can read the commentary of that parampara. Okay. The difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Very nice question. So the Bhagavad Gita are the Lord's instructions to all of the Jivatmas that we can follow in this life. So it is the Lord speaking to us. Whereas the Srimad Bhagavatam is all about the pastimes of Krishna in his various incarnations. Krishna's relationship with his devotees is what the Srimad Bhagavatam is all about. Okay. So when you come to level 2, we will be doing Bhagavatam. Can we share the link of the book? Yes, you can. I'll just put it here for those who do not know. There is a digital version. You can go to vedabase.com. You will find the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, many other nice books there, and you can read from there. Okay. While reading shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, I'm scared if the pronunciation goes wrong as a beginner. What to do? Can I still practice? Yes, definitely you can practice. So I have a question for you, Bhagya Lakshmi. So let us see. I've come out with a recipe book. Okay. What is more important? Let us say I have put 50 recipes in my book. What is more important, for you to memorize the recipes or for you to try out the recipes for yourself? What is more important?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Important, but the Hare Krishna Mataji. But the thing is, I'm scared, like if pronunciation goes wrong, if something like a big mistake, is it a sin? So that is there in my mind. So I am scared. When you are teaching also, you say that somebody recite after me. So I'm scared if pronunciation goes wrong. So I never try.
Oh, you
I
should
just
practice.
listen always.
You ask all of the other devotees. I was also scared. But by practice, slowly you will develop the confidence. So, yes, you can all learn how to recite the Bhagavad Gita shlokas very nicely. We will teach you how to recite the shlokas very nicely. But it is good to learn. But the importance should be in following the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so that is more important than learning to pronounce Sanskrit perfectly. If we have the opportunity to learn and practice Sanskrit properly, that's very nice. But Krishna will be more pleased with you when you follow his instructions. Krishna is not going to give us brownie points for reciting the shlokas perfectly. So following Krishna's instructions is more important. So when a baby begins to speak, the parents really enjoy it, when the baby is speaking with all kinds of baby talk, The parent doesn't punish the child for not speaking properly or not speaking fluently. So similarly, Krishna is not going to punish us if we don't pronounce the verses of the Bhagavad Gita properly. He's more interested that we follow his instructions. Yeah. Thank you. Very nice question, Mataji. And yes, don't be afraid. Just practice, because without practicing, you will not be able to overcome the fear. Right? Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Haribol. Is service to the needy service to Vishnu, or vice versa is correct? Service to Vishnu is service to the needy. Shweta, you have a question? You can unmute yourself. As a Brahmin, can I incorporate both Gayatri Japa? Just 1 second, Shweta. I'll just come to you in just a second.
Mataji, I have answered for his question already through the chat.
Oh, very good. As a Brahmin, can I incorporate both Gayatri Japa and Harinam Japa into my regular Japa routine, or should I do only Harinam Japa? Gayatri Japa, if you have taken Upanayanam and you received the Gayatri Mantra, you can chant the Gayatri Mantra, but it is better to chant the Harinam Mantra. You don't need to stop the Gayatri, but the priority can be given to Harinam Japa. Yeah.
As a Brahmin, he must give the importance to the Gayatri Japa also, Mataji. You must do it morning and then evening.
Yeah.
Even I am Brahmin, Mataji.
Yeah, I know. But Krishna is not looking to see are you Brahmin or not. He's looking to see are you his devotee.
Yes, Mataji, and I'm devotee as well.
Yeah, so as a devotee, we will follow Krishna's instructions that he's given for those who want to be his devotees. So Nama Japa is very important. Okay. All right.
Mataji, my question is, even we have committed some sins, but before coming to Krishna consciousness, so I want to get delivered in this Janma only, Mataji. I'm doing Ekadashis, especially Nirjal Ekadashis, I'm doing. Think my mind will go other side, but still I'm doing japa and then doing puja and then reading books and then going to ISKCON and then hearing classes and then hearing kirtans. I'm doing all these things, but in ISKCON they said that if we do that if you do devotional services, so we will get a next janma as a person, and then this karma in this life, whatever we have did sins, that will be taken into the next life, and then in this life we are suffering because of previous janma sins. So my question is, can I can I zero all my sins in this janma only by doing all these things, and then can I get delivered in this janma only? Next janma I don't want, Mataji, that's why.
Yes, definitely. You can zero out everything in this life, provided we follow the instructions of Krishna. Yeah. Looks like you're following the instructions already very nicely, so nothing to worry about.
Even this janma's karma also, can I zero it?
Yes.
Next time I don't want, Mataji, that's why.
We'll pray that none of us should have another janma. That is, if we don't want it.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Even definitely I want to remember Krishna at my death, Mataji.
Very good. So you're doing very nicely.
Then only I can get this one, moksha. That's why.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is Nara Seva Narayana Seva? No. Narayana Seva is Nara Seva. Nara Seva you can do. You will get pious benefits for it. Definitely, Krishna will be pleased with it. But as you go into the future chapters, you will understand what Krishna really wants. And why I am saying that Narayana Seva is Nara Seva and not the other way around. That doesn't mean that doing Nara Seva is wrong. It is just which is better. That is the question. Is Nara Seva better than Narayana Seva? That's the question. Which should be done first? You can do Narayana Seva and incorporate Nara Seva in that. But if you do Nara Seva and forget Narayana, then there is no use. You will only benefit when you're pleasing Krishna. So we need to understand what Krishna wants in the Bhagavad Gita. So the more we are able to understand what Krishna wants in the Bhagavad Gita, then yes, we will do what Krishna wants. All right, any other questions? Yes, Chinmay.
Mataji, Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, while making decisions during prescribed material duties, how do we know that if we are making a right decision or not, if Krishna is pleased with our decision or not, if it is dharmic or not?
So one way to know if it's a conflicting situation for you and you want to know what is the right decision to make, then you can consult with a senior devotee, or you may get your answers from Shastra. If it is not an ethical dilemma or a moral dilemma, you can make whatever decision seems right. Because in every single decision, Krishna is not involved. So if I have to get up today and decide whether I'm going to make khichdi or idli, that's not something that Krishna is worried about. So Krishna is only worried about moral and ethical dilemmas. When you face moral and ethical dilemmas, are you getting the right counsel before you make the decision? Whether to take this job or that job, whether to live in this city or that city, these are not things that Krishna is worried about. So it's not that every decision that you make is being scrutinized by Krishna. Krishna scrutinizes the moral life that you live. If you're not violating the morals or ethics, then there's nothing to worry about. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Mataji, but even Arjuna was confused with his material duties, right? As a Kshatriya, whether to fight or not.
Yeah, but it was an
Krishna was
ethical
concerned
dilemma.
about it.
It was a moral dilemma. Kill my family or abandon my duty. So that was definitely a moral dilemma for Arjuna. I hope we are not facing such difficult dilemmas in our life, but in case we are, I'm not saying it is not possible that we may not have moral or ethical dilemmas. If we have moral or ethical dilemmas, then you should consult with a senior devotee and get some guidance.
Yes, Mataji.
How do you control the tongue so that we can control the senses? Krishna says by offering bhoga to me every day, and then you accept it as prasadam. You can control your tongue. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other questions? Okay. If there are no other questions, join us tomorrow to learn a little bit more about karma. All the different
Hello?
definitions of karma. Yes, Hare Krishna.
You can give morning.
I'm sorry?
You can give it morning. The classes. No.
No, I'm giving it in the evening at 8:30.
Or I'm saying that means I came to this ISKCON temple at Bangalore. Then there only in temple only you teach Bhagavad Gita. I'm saying that.
Which temple have you gone to? There are many ISKCON
Bhagavad Gita
temples in Bangalore.
in Bangalore. No, there Orient Mall near.
Near Orion Mall. Okay.
There.
And you wanted to purchase a Bhagavad Gita?
No, I want to study that Bhagavad. Means I want I want you to teach Bhagavad Gita. Means others they teach Bhagavad Gita at temple. No, that I wanted.
Yeah, there are classes in the temple, I'm sure. You can visit the local temple and check with them what time their classes are. If you're looking for physical classes, yeah, certainly you can check with the temple if you want to attend physical classes.
And I'm saying that we can go to this Hastinapur near UP. It is there. No, Mahabharat shooting was
Yes,
there. You can go there.
you can go there and do what? I'm sorry.
And then we can visit the temple. Like the Mahabharat shooting was there in Hastinapur. We can all the team can go there and visit.
Yeah, there is a place called Kurukshetra where there are places that you can visit in Kurukshetra.
Can you plan with your team about this Hastinapur?
Oh, why not? We'll let you know when we organize that yatra.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hamsa, do you have a
Hare
question?
Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
ma'am. Yeah, my husband won't do any japas. If I told also, he will not do. What I can do for that? Can do regarding him. He'll not do the japas as I told, that he'll be facing the problems every day, something. So then I can do for himself the japas like regarding
Yeah,
him.
you can do japa, and there are, you can do
No, the
japa.
person individually should do no for their sins or something.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, it'll be nice if he does japa.
So that I kept my son name Krishna only. We call Krishna only, so that he can remember Krishna every day in mind.
That's
He'll not.
very
His
nice.
mind is not going to the God much. It's always seeing mobile advertisement ads, something like this, but no interest in the God. What I can come make him to
That's okay.
the
Maybe
do the
you can
japa.
invite him to class or take him to the temple.
Mm.
We cannot ask.
That is only for fraction of time, ma'am. After that, again, is the same.
That's
Then
okay.
he'll be facing the
If he
problem
goes to the
every day.
temple, takes darshan, if he goes to the temple and takes prasadam, if he goes to the temple and does a little bit of seva, sooner or later he will also be chanting. So not everybody begins their journey with chanting. So some people may begin their journey somewhere else, but still in the service of the Lord. So you can encourage him to visit the temple. You make sure at home you're only serving him prasadam, Krishna prasadam every day.
Okay.
Even if he doesn't chant, maybe you can play Prabhupada's chanting so he can hear the chanting. So there are small things that you can do indirectly to encourage him. Yeah. I would say not to ask him to chant, but rather to trick him to chant sooner or later through indirect ways. Yeah. So he can hear
I'll try my
Prabhupada's
best.
chanting at home. Make sure he has Krishna Prasadam every day. Take him to the temple, or both of you go to the temple as often as you can. Sooner or later, I'm sure he will be chanting. Okay?
Okay.
Nothing to worry about.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. All right. Any other questions? All right. I don't think there are any other questions. So join us tomorrow for chapter number 4. So we will close for today unless there is any more questions. So I don't see any more questions. So Vancha kalpatarupyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji.
Krishna Mataji. Dandapana.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for
Hare
the
Krishna.
beautiful session, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandapana.
Dhanush Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Hare Bol. How are you doing?
I am chanting 16 rounds daily, Mataji.
Did you take
Taking
initiation?
prasadam. What, Mataji?
Did you take initiation?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay, so what's your initiated name?
Keval Bhakt Das.
Wow. Okay, very nice. Keval Bhakt Das. Very
Yes,
good.
Mataji.
Yeah. Very happy.
Bhakto ke
So,
Das. Thank you, Mataji.
very beautiful.
I am trying to listen your classes. Very good classes, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I
Krishna.
hope all is well with you. I know it's a little cold up there. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Everything is okay.
Yes.
Children are not doing japas, etc. But I and my wife both are.
That's okay.
with
One day you can pray to Krishna that your children should also do japa.
Yes,
Maybe
Mataji.
one day they will do japa. Yeah.
Both my son and his missus both are doctors, MD physician, but no interest in this side, Mataji.
Yeah, they may be busy They may have
Yes,
so
yes,
much stress
yes, Mata. Yes,
because
Mataji.
being a doctor is not easy, no?
Yes, Mataji.
It
Yes,
comes with a lot of stress.
yes, Mataji.
So yeah, but one day they will chant, don't worry. Just pray for them.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
But don't pressure them to chant.
No, no, Mataji, no pressure.
They should see you and your wife chanting, and one day they will
Yes,
be inspired to chant. That's all.
Mataji,
You set the
Delhi,
example for them.
yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
We go to temple, take prasadam, read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam daily.
Very good.
Everything we do, seva to Krishna.
That's all.
But time will take.
As Krishna said, you are the best role model for your children. They may not like it or appreciate it today, but they
Yes,
will
Mataji.
value it soon one day.
Yes,
So
Mataji.
continue doing what you're doing. Don't pressure them.
Yes,
Let
Mataji.
them
Yes.
observe you and they will follow you
Yes.
soon. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. What's your name? Your name says iPhone. Who was that who just said thank you?
Chaitanya Krishna.
Chaitanya Krishna. Where are you from? Are you from Bangalore?
Yes, Mataji.
Where do you stay?
I'm in Kalyan Nagar.
Oh, you're very close. How old are you?
Yeah. I'm 25.
Okay. So do you come to our temple?
Yes, I visited recently.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you, Mataji.
Come and visit me sometime.
Yes, sure, Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees. Pratibha Mataji, you wanted to say something? I think you
No,
unmuted
Mataji.
yourself.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol,
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.